Into the Breach is excited to be teaming up with Nine Line Apparel, a veteran-owned apparel company that celebrates the spirit of freedom, courage, and American values. Go check out ninelineapparel.com for freedom-loving patriotic gear perfect for your family members, first responders, veterans, and active duty service members. When you're done selecting the amazing merchandise and apparel Nine Line has to offer, punch in the code ITB20, that's India Tango Bravo 20, for a 20% discount off your next purchase at ninelineapparel.com. Vet TV is a streaming service created by veterans for veterans, with over 30 different series to choose from, including our new series Battle Lab that features special operations soldiers going head-to-head with the newest tactics and threats on the modern battlefield. Into the Breach listeners have an exclusive discount of paying $1 a month for the first 2 months of subscription with the code BREACH. So head on over to Vet TV and type in BREACH at checkout to receive this incredible offer for your Vet TV subscription. Thank you for listening, and now back to the show.
All right, welcome back to Breaching with the Boys here with Ethan Nagel, Nick Laidlaw. Nick, thanks for coming on, brother.
Absolutely, dude. Look forward to this every time.
I know. I'm really excited. We're kicking off. I don't know if I'm springing this on you. We talked about before, but we're going to be doing weekly for the next few months. So I'm excited for this. A way to really kick this off. I mean, 2 weeks ago, we kind of had a test run. But I guess it's a hell of a way to kick off the series for Infantry Month in March here. But the first week of March, we decided to go to war with Iran. So Iraq, Afghanistan, Iran, let's just start knocking them off. So it's been a hell of a last 96 hours.
Dude, it's been crazy. I'm like, that night that it started, I remember thinking, like, I'm probably going to wake up and it's going to be started. And then, like, first thing, I wake up in the morning, I look at my phone, and I'm like, no shit.
Well, that's the thing is the buildup was happening. So something was going to happen. We knew that. I went to bed and woke up. I mean, because I've been filming all last week. And so I went to bed on, was it Sunday it kicked off? It would have been Sunday, right? Or was it Saturday? Now my days are mixed up because today's the 4th. So, so Saturday it kicked off. So I got back Friday night, and then like Saturday morning, I'm like, what? Like, Khomeini's dead? And you're like, whoa, shit.
Yeah, there was such a buildup, too, that it's like something's got to happen. And it's not going to be like missile and drone ping pong like it has been for the last couple of years.
No, I agree. And obviously we're seeing it play out. But that build up, though, we knew this was going to be something much bigger. You know, everyone was talking about the troop movements and how big it was. This wasn't like Fordor that they talked about last year when they hit the nuclear facility. Like this isn't a few stealth, a few stealth bombers.
Significantly larger.
Yeah,
I saw those stealth bombers actually that went and bombed Iran the first time. Yeah, they flew over my work, and I remember like looking at them, and I was like, "Huh, I wonder where they're going." And then like the next day, I was like, "I guess that's where they went."
One of the funny things is what I do appreciate about this administration, or at least with Hegseth, because he is our generation of GWAT, is that he is very aware of the OSINT Instagram channels and the ones that keep track of how much pizza is being bought by by the Pentagon.
By the Pentagon,
and before the Iran war, or this whole, I don't even want to call it conflict war, strikes kicked off probably like a week ago or so. Like it was during last week. He was like, "We're very aware of the pizza orders that go in and out," and he goes, "I think we might just kind of do a head fake and order a bunch for fun on my credit card." And it was like kind of wild how tuned into the social media culture, but the culture. I mean, OSINT is
how connected they are.
How connected. I mean, OSINT is also very much more reliable, and it moves very quickly, and they are very aware of it. And it's an asset, man. Like they obviously have the CIA, Hegseth, Department of War. They all have the information coming in from their big channels, and they spend money on. But then guys like you and me, and everyone else, we can get information a few hours after they do. Like whatever happens on the ground, they'll know maybe minutes or hours, maybe minutes before the rest of the world does. So, I mean, it's an asset, but it's also obviously a liability.
Yeah, and depending on like who like you can even know before the Pentagon does. You know.
Yeah, if you got guys on ground.
Yeah.
If you have, you're very well connected to like Ukraine, Afghan, even in Afghanistan, like we were talking with people on the ground, other people had people with inside, like I knew about the guys that were killed at Abbey Gate the minute it happened, before it hit the news.
Oh, yeah. See, I didn't know until like everybody else did.
Yeah. Yeah. I got a text. It was like a suicide bomber. At first it was like 8 Marines killed. And I got the text message like, oh, and then literally about 2 hours later came up through the official news channels, and obviously with Ukraine, with all your connections there, Iran's a bit of a black hole right now. I know Chris had an asset in somebody down on the ground in Iran, but I don't think he's heard from him since the nuclear strike, or he's been off and on, and it was real sketched about working with Leaflet, so. Or he wanted to, but it was very cautious.
Yeah, it was V, I think, was his call sign that they're using.
Yep, absolutely.
I've chatted with him a couple times. He seemed like a cool dude. But yeah, I haven't heard from him in a while.
Yeah.
So.
And it's pretty wild. I wrote some stuff that I even take some notes. I'm trying to get better at this as we go. Yeah. So Operation Epic Fury has officially kicked off. As of February, I guess the 28th, February 28th, it kicked off. So as of right now, the stats, 11 Iranian warships have been sunk, which is also, I won't say hilarious, but they're converted like oil tankers, which I didn't know.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, Iran actually built something.
You can see some of the like satellite footage, and you're like, is that an oil tanker? It's like
they slapped like a deck on it.
Yeah, it's just like an oil tanker with like a helipad landing on it.
yeah, exactly.
Now it's a warship.
7 fast jets destroyed, 1 F-4E, 2 F-5Es, 2 Su-22s, and 2 Su-24 MKs. And then sadly we did get the word, it was right before I took my daughter to swim lessons today, 6 total KIA.
Yeah,
we did find out 4 of the names, which was Captain Cody Cork, 35 of Lakeland, Florida, Sergeant First Class Nicole Armour, 39 of White Bear Lake, Minnesota. So super sad. My buddy, one of the guys he works with, the guy that he works with, that's his buddy's wife. That was killed in Kuwait. Sergeant First Class Noah Titania, so I'm going to butcher that, 42 of Bellevue, Nebraska, and then Sergeant Declan Cody.
That's down the road from me.
Yeah.
That's, I think, the second guy from Omaha to be killed. One was at Abbey Gate.
Oh, really?
And the other one is this most recent guy.
Yeah, it's terrible, yeah. And he was 20 out of Des Moines, Iowa. It's super shitty. And I guess I knew Kuwait. I was there for 10 months back in 2018-19. And I was kind of figuring out where because the drone strikes are hitting. In fact, the one that flew in, there's like a little World War II tank or whatever. That's Beering. And that Shahed drone come in and hit. So I knew exactly where that was.
I've been to Beering before.
Yeah. It sucks. It's terrible. I hate that place.
I like the chow hall.
Chow hall was good.
When I was there, we had just gotten off ship, so like the chow hall there was like heaven.
You see, Azerbaijan is where we said AJ was it was better. It was like long. It's like Beering was kind of like the bastard camp.
Yeah.
Compared to like Azerbaijan was the nice camp. We had all the amenities and all this other stuff. I mean, Beering did too, but
Beering had a Starbucks. Like that.
Yeah.
You get a Starbucks around, like life's not that bad.
Yeah, exactly. Life isn't that bad. And apparently it was a makeshift command center, and it got hit. I think I'd like to get your thoughts on this. So they're an Army Reserve unit based out of Des Moines, Iowa. So Midwest there. Rest in peace. That sucks. Especially when you're losing people. It was. I remember seeing that. I was like, oh man, that's a kick in the gut, And I want to get your thoughts on this too. I think as a nation and as a generation, we're so used to not seeing like the true price of war or conflict, especially for the last 10 years or so. Obviously, us in the GWAT, we had friends that were killed, during Iraq and Afghanistan. But for like the last 10 years, it's been minimal until Abbey Gate. That rocked everybody in 2021. But, I don't want to say it's a hubris by any means, but it is definitely a mentality of like, oh my God, it sucks and every life matters, but in the grand scheme of things, you're like, strategically, you're like, wow, this is a hell of an operation, and sadly those were like, it was almost like a lucky shot, you know what I mean? And it sucks, but it's also kind of like, it's one of those things where war is hell, and we've just been very fortunate that every time we start a conflict or we bomb something, our casualties are almost minimal to none. I mean, the Maduro rate was insane that, no one was killed and we snatched up a president in their own country. I mean, that's
that's
wild.
insane. That's like a video game, like hardest level type difficulty.
Yeah. And they pulled it off. Yeah.
And they pulled it off. No one got killed on our side.
Yeah, exactly. We had a few guys, one guy got Medal of Honor and guys' legs shot up and still flew, which is pretty awesome. But yeah, I want to get your thoughts on that, kind of the mentality and, the how that actually shapes, I guess the culture, it's
interesting because it's like I've been so involved with Ukraine for over 4 years now, and I remember initially being like really shocked at seeing dead soldiers with uniforms on, because that's not something like we'd seen in a long time, like large numbers of dead soldiers wearing like modern kit and stuff. And that was kind of a shock for me. But now, like 4 years later, it's like I have known and talked with probably over 100 people who've been killed, that I personally communicated with or like met with. And it still doesn't quite hit the same way when it's people from your own country and your own military. Like I hate saying like it's, how do I describe this in a way that's not like insensitive? But like with Ukraine, it's more of like, it's kind of just the expectation, that like a ton of people are going to die. Whereas like you're correct, like with our military, it's always been low casualty numbers. Like I was just talking last night with a buddy on Xbox. We were talking about like the Battle of Hamburger Hill in Vietnam and like how horrible that was, but still like in the grand scheme of things, it wasn't like tens of thousands of like U.S. soldiers were like dying at that battle. It was only like a couple hundred. And it's like we've all like our war fighting machine has like somehow managed to mitigate casualties no matter what. And so it's just shocking when anybody dies, because it's like we're the most, like, especially now, like undoubtedly the most powerful military on earth. Like we don't have a near peer. There's no near peer for the United States. It's just, it's hard to wrap my mind around, especially like, because it was kind of a local unit to me. And so it's like I've already had people on my Facebook like posting about it of how they knew this person or they knew that person. And it's just 4 of the 6 so far.
Yeah, I agree with you, and I think that's, excuse me, it's tough because it is. I agree with you, like having that hit home, because I they did that, and you're like, man, and I was a little upset because part of me was like, it was Kuwait, I was like, and I think it's just the mentality is just different because we're shooting missiles from so far away, and we have anti-aircraft systems or anti-defense, systems that are anti-air and all this other stuff, and the one got through, and it happened to get them, and it's like it's almost upsetting. Like to me, like right away, I was mad because I was like, who is the officer in charge, and why were they not informed? Why did it get through? We have all this, like I was in Kuwait, like why is there all this anti-air defense? And then so part of me was like upset, like wanting to blame somebody. I truly was. I was just like, why do we have 6 people dead and 18 wounded? This should not have happened.
It's understandable because like whenever anybody dies, there needs to be an explanation for like why this happened and how that situation came to rise.
Exactly. Yeah. And,
I mean, people are going to die in war, but it's still like we don't know much right now about the circumstances of how these people were killed, but it's like a lot of stuff that does get people killed is preventable.
Yes,
or at
and
least
exactly.
you can
Yep.
mitigate to a certain degree, you know.
Yeah,
But
and that's exactly what I thought. I was like, oh, we have anti-air. Like, why was
hmm
it not intercepted? But then part of me, then the warfighter aspect kicks in. You're just like, that's war.
yeah,
It got through. How many of people that I know get wounded and injured or killed in Al Assad? How many times did a rocket hit the porter shitter in the green
yeah,
zone and kill somebody? You know, um, Hundreds. And so, like I said, it is, you kind of have to step back and just be like, okay, this is a war, this is a conflict. You know, Sadly, people are going to die, but what's
yeah,
the end objectives? And I think it is one of those things too. What we're doing and what you just talked about too is like we are undoubtedly the superpower
yep,
in on this planet. No one comes even close. Like China, no.
no.
They're going to put up a fight, but no one comes near us.
We've
Like,
seen their anti-air defenses twice now.
yeah, exactly. Yep, yep,
It's
yep.
not-
We've seen how they work. Not so well.
yeah.
But it's incredible the air power that's going on, the intelligence apparatus. I think a lot of people
Mhm.
don't understand the intelligence apparatus that's going on, and just these paper tigers. Russia's fallen. Russia is absolutely on its back heels. Iran
It's
is
a
officially,
regional power at best,
yes, yep,
you know. Like,
exactly. And now Iran, which by the way, what I think, and we can discuss this too. I don't know how close you've been following, but like Iran has always been in the background pulling strings, you know.
mhm.
And
Well,
so
it's so strategically placed too. It's like people want to like Turkey's another example of like a major player on the world stage that people don't really think of just because of where they're located geographically,
yep,
you know.
I agree. Yeah, and I mean, so and like like I said, what's your thoughts on that too? I mean, we officially, you know, I don't know, say we officially gone to war. That's another thing we can discuss. I don't even know what to call this. Is this strikes? Is this a war? Is this a
Special
conflict?
military operation. Who knows,
Yeah,
man? Like,
yeah, especially yeah. Go down that road. Special military operation. I do think, yeah, I one, I'm like I said, I'm a war fighter at heart, so I'm just like, yeah, let's go get them. I'm very much on board with that.
mhm.
I think geopolitically and politically, you know, I, don't- I, in my opinion, I think that they have a better grasp on what's going on. Like I said, I think it does help that Hegseth is the Secretary of Defense, or Secretary of War, and he fought in Iraq and Afghanistan. One of us, Minnesota, Iowa guy, served in that role, understands the GWAT and the mistakes that were made.
Yeah,
Same with JD Vance. JD Vance, went to Al Side. He's more of a isolationist. This is not a cabinet ready to rock and roll at a drop of a hat for funsies. Without, I believe, calculations to do what's happening. And I think we might have saw that with how long it took for us to respond after the massacre of the protesters. I want to get your thoughts on that.
um let me think. I am kind of in like a weird position here because like I can undoubtedly support the toppling of the Iranian regime. Like it's a bad guy government through and through. They're an enemy of the United States. But what the thing I have issue with at the moment is the communication between the White House and the American people. It's like I'm like what's the goal here? Is it regime change? Is it to stop the nuclear program? Are we going to put boots on the ground? Is this going to be 4 weeks and we're done and then it's like, all right, Iran, you figure it out for yourself? Or are we going to try, like, is it going to be another Iraq? Are we going to be there for 15, 20 years? Like, is the plan just to destabilize Iran and then have it fall into civil war over the next 20 years and the people can figure it out? Are we going to put in the old monarchy? Like, there's been no clear communication to me, like a United States citizen. And that's the only thing I'm really concerned about is like, what is the plan?
Yeah.
Like I know right now we're like destroying Iran's military capabilities and allegedly the like nuclear refining programs, but what about after that? Like, what's coming next, I guess, because we've historically had not a super great track record for stabilizing the Middle East after we've been there. So that's really just my only concern. Like I can be on board with removing the Iranian government, but what's after that? I guess like I don't want it to be an American tradition where it's like every generation goes to to the Middle East, you know? Because I think at this point it's like grandpas soon will be like Iraq war veterans, you know, and then their grandsons will be going because it's like those guys have had their kids are having kids now, you know. So it's I don't know. I just want some clarification, I guess.
No, I agree with you 100%. I feel like again we're 4 days in. I think
and we're super early into this too.
That's another thing too about our culture. Everything has to be done right away.
Yeah,
like if they wrap this thing up in 2 weeks, and it turns out hopefully on the right side or positivity, like I'm with you. And also I feel like people have one, impossible standards. Two, it's to me it's the I was thinking about this today. I knew we were going to talk. It's the man in the arena. Somebody has to do something. And no matter what you do, they will always criticize you for something. So if it fails, but at least we tried. You know, at least we wiped out the nuclear program. Maybe the region, maybe the country goes into chaos, but at least we stripped away the nuclear capabilities. Everyone else is going to be like, why did we go? Well, because they were working towards a nuclear weapon. And we do not want an Islamic State, a radical Islamic State, having a nuclear weapon. That is bad news bears written all over it. There's reasons why we don't mess with North Korea. Because North Korea is nuclear. It's nuclear. I mean, so as soon as they get one, now they become a power player, and then they get to really have some fun because they can always threaten to drop a nuke on us or drop a dirty bomb.
That's the only reason North Korea still exists as a state.
Exactly. Yep.
You know,
exactly.
like
100%.
especially with this administration, like we've seen how we're just kind of like knocking over dictators one by one, and it's like it's the only the reason North Korea is not on the chopping block at the moment. You know, who knows?
As a combat veteran and my bachelor's degree is in intelligence studies and a study of warfare and history, part of me wants Cuba back. I want it back. I just for, you know, like all the conspiracy theories, the Bay of Pigs, you know, I want it. I've read the books. I was like, I want it. You know, and I know Rubio's got some personal vendetta, and I'm like, let's get it. Let's just keep the pins rolling.
I was in Cuba for like 4 or 5 months as part of the fence line mission down there during like my first year in the Marine Corps.
Really? What'd you do down there?
Glorified border patrol. It was literally, I think there's 26 miles of fence line in Gitmo, and I was on the windward side, so the eastern side of the base, and it's just standing post and catching Cubans when they come under the fence or over it. I mean, it was fun because like you do a lot of like infantry stuff out there, like real world, you know, it's like training stuff, but like you have like lance corporals like planning patrols and going out and doing them, and there's cool like unmarked landmines out there in fields that you can go try not to step on, stuff like we had several incidents like that, like deer step on them all the time. Yeah, it was all right. It was boring, you know, just a bunch of lance corporals fucking off in the middle of the night. It's like awesome. It's like 5 miles between the posts that are manned, and so it's like when you're standing post, you're like by yourself. Lots of ghost stories get spread around out there.
I saw Bad Boys too, so I remember the ending there in Cuba. But no, I agree. I think that's what's frustrating is that we're 4 days in, and by the way, it's incredibly successful. Like I don't, you know, everyone. I agree with you. I think clarity's a little better, but at the same point, this is a hardcore military operation, and we're going to be told what we're being told, you know. And I think, I mean, we've wiped out over 40 top personnel. I mean, we got Khomeini.
I think it was 46.
46 in the first go.
And then they declared a new Ayatollah, and I think we killed him within an hour for just spawn camping their supreme leaders at this point.
I know. And then they were holding a meeting to vote.
Yeah, there was another they were all convening, and that got bombed too.
Yeah, the IDF bomb. Like, it wasn't us.
I have no idea who's running the country right now.
No one. I don't think anyone is. And it's a weird thing too, because I think to me it's highly successful right now. It's going well. They've united. I mean, it's a united front. Qatar, Bahrain, UAE, I mean, Dubai's been hit. Every single country's been hit. And I think some people brought up some good points of like, you're on your own now. Like, I mean, when everyone is like, you know, the Qatar, or no, the Bahrainians, the Qataris are sending in their own fighter jets and bombing targets.
I think it's Qatar. Speaking of Bahrain, I was there for a long time as well with Charlie Company and Fast. And one of the videos of a Shahed striking, I recognized exactly because my barracks was 20 feet from it. Yeah, they struck the radar dish. It's this big, like golf ball thing that was like literally 20 yards from my barracks. So like as soon as I saw that video, I was like, "Oh shit! I know exactly where that is." Like,
I know
I've
exactly where
smoked so many
that's at.
cigarettes under that thing.
Yeah. Well, the other thing too is that was kind of odd to me too. But again, you know, what bases are being defended and what's not. Like, why was stuff getting through? But I'd also like to know
NSA Bahrain, like that's a huge naval port. You know,
and I was wondering why.
How did a
stuff was getting
Shahed
through.
just float its way into there?
Exactly.
You know, they only travel as fast as like a car.
Yeah, I know, and that's what I was kind of curious. I mean, I guess we'll find out more as you know. I'm sure there's going to be plenty of soldiers posting on Instagram. I'm sure they'll be reaching out to you here in the next few weeks to be like, "This is what actually happened," you know, what's going on the ground right now. But yeah, I agree. It's crazy. It's a united front. It's a turning page in history, and it truly is. I mean,
I
you're
agree.
talking since 1979. You know, I was telling Amanda, I was like, we should watch Argo. Like, I'm all like amped up. Let's go watch, you know, the Academy Award winning film Argo, directed by Ben Affleck. But it's kind of crazy that this is happening, and you know, at the same, it's respecting the strong man. You know, just go in there and kind of honestly just fuck shit up, and we're taking control, and no one's telling us we can't. And honestly, that's the way it should be done. I'm kind of glad that's happening that way.
What I'm really curious about now is like what ability does Iran still have to defend itself? Like if we sent troops into the ground, like what army units are still alive? You know, like what could they do? You know?
Yeah, I agree.
That's what I'd be very interested. I would love like a full. You know how like Ukraine they publish something every month where it's like this is the number of tanks destroyed, enemy personnel, like artillery pieces. I would love something like that where it's like a graphic we can look at with like verifiable footage of destroyed equipment and like barracks buildings or whatever, just to see, you know, because like we've seen like tons of strikes and stuff, but no data on what's been destroyed really, other than what you mentioned at the beginning. Because it's like I swear I've seen more videos of like aircraft being destroyed on the ground than you brought up. There's like a video I posted 3 days ago, I think, where it was like just a bunch of aircraft just getting hit by missiles on a runway.
Yeah, and also missiles getting hit too. I mean,
Yeah.
like they're trying to
Tons
fire
of
up their
them.
ballistic missiles and they're just not.
Tel
you know.
Aviv is probably lit right now. Like just thinking about that. It's crazy over there.
Yeah. Well, they had their Iron Domes going. They busted out that laser that they had tested
Yeah.
out like last year, and it was working. And I think it's crazy to think too, because Iran is behind a lot of the issues that we had with terrorist groups and proxies in the region. And now we've literally wiped out the Shah, or sorry, the Ayatollah, and you know, this is like I said, it's a whole new chapter. But I agree with you. What happens after this? And I'm pretty sure, and I'm hoping this, and knock on wood that I'm right, is that I imagine we have a strategy in place, or bullet points at least in place with the administration on what comes after this. You know,
I'd hope so, at least.
I would hope so. I mean, I really do. I mean, like Hegseth, Vance and Hegseth are going to be like to Trump, what comes after this? You know what I mean? And I'm sure Trump's going to be like, what should come after this? You know, because once you do this, and I agree with you, what's their capability on the ground? Now, I brought up ahead in our little group chat or our thing. I don't know if you've seen it, but you see Stoic Viking, his explainer.
I tried to find it on YouTube. I couldn't find it.
Sorry, it was on Instagram. It was on Instagram.
No.
Sorry.
I didn't see that then.
It's a really good explainer. I don't know his whole background, but I was gonna try to reach out to him, but he had studied Iran. He was tier 1 operator, worked with intelligence. Iran was his specialty, and and then I do agree with him, and I've heard this before, and this is what's coming out too as well with a lot of the Iranians that are American Iranians that are over there currently, and that what we've seen in the last few months with the protests and things that are happening, is that the Iranians are nationalistic. Iraq, which we knew that Iraq and Afghanistan, you could never really unite them. They're too tribal. They're too strong man, or they look to the strong man. They can be fractured very easily. They don't unite. They don't unite very well. Iranians, on the other hand, and what his analysis is that for all the studying and all the intelligence that they had, was that Iranians are nationalistic. So you can unite them, and they can live under that banner, and they're not Islamic. They're Persian. So there is a giant group of them that are very nationalistic, and and they keep moving forward, there might be a good shot that the country can hold together, and that they can either democratically elect, or say that Shah, I can't remember his name, or the
like exiled prince.
The exiled prince, Pavlov. I know that's not his name.
Idea.
Yeah, I should probably know this. We're talking about it. People are listening to us wanting answers, and we don't have
We're
them.
experts.
We're experts. Yeah. Well, it's and but from what I understand is that, and that's kind of the assessment too that I've gotten from what it looks like, from the OSINT community, is that Iran is a different beast. And I agree with you, though. What's left on the ground? Who's still going to fight? The IRGC, the Islamic Republican Guard. There's two thoughts on that, which is really weird, because people are like, oh my God, they've wiped out their whole entire chain of command. They're decentralized. Now they're really dangerous. And if you've ever fought in the Middle East and know Arabs and how the culture works, or the Soviet tactics, it's the opposite of that. So I don't know what people, that's an opinion I understand that people have, but I don't know if that's one that's logically working on the ground right now. That somehow their entire defenses are wiped out, everything's wiped out, the command's gone, but now is when they really get dangerous, is somehow their NCO corps is just as good as ours. I know that there's going to be fracturing, but I don't see it being a huge, maybe I'll eat my words, I don't see it being a huge issue when it comes to uniting the country. Yeah, you're probably going to have an insurgency. Yeah. But I don't foresee that somehow turning into, some crazy, like, oh my God, they're so good at tactics now because they're decentralized. We're the only country that really works well, or the West does a little bit, but we're the best country at being decentralized. When our command's gone, we're like, okay, cool, I guess we'll keep moving. We know what the battle plan is. Yeah. Ukrainians, God bless them, but they're not exactly the best at decentralization. The Soviets, who've trained the Iranians, are horrific at it. Mm-hmm. And the Arabs, from, their tactics, are not that good as well. So, I know they're not Arabs, but they're kind of in that same region. And so,
there's some cultural similarities.
Yeah, exactly. There's cultural similarities that it's just not, I don't think that argument flies. I know a lot of people, look, pick it apart, as you should. Why, what does come next? And I agree. And I think after the massacres, which is actually, honestly, it's kind of cool. It kind of sent some chills down my spine today when I was like, dude, Trump was like, hey, hold on, and then all those Iranians got massacred and they were still holding on. And then just like the buildups happening, and like, you got to imagine if you're Iranian being like, oh no, they're coming, and then when that hammer drops, the amount of morale boost that you have, and motivation to actually do something.
Because they killed like 30,000 civilians, like in a weekend, I think. Yeah, like there's got to be a lot of hate for the government.
Even on the low end, it was 12,000. Like they were like 12,000 to 30,000, but now.
But still, that's like a small town of people just murdered.
Yeah, exactly.
And there's like tons of videos too of like guys on trucks with machine guns just like shooting into crowds. Mm-hmm. Terrible.
Yeah, it's horrific. And then the body bags, and they shut down Starlink, so it'd be interesting to see if Starlink is up and running. That was something I saw as well on the channels. Was like, hey, when's Starlink gonna get up and running?
Yeah, I saw that like some Starlinks were being smuggled into Iran, which is cool. Like I can get behind that. Yeah. Any country, like if you're smuggling Starlink in for like information to be passed in and out of the country, I don't care which country it is. Like I'm all for it. Let's smuggle Starlink into North Korea along with iPhones.
Dude, I'm fully on board with that. Absolutely. Yeah, and so it'll be interesting to see the information flow that's going to come out directly from the people, of Iran. I mean, we're seeing it already, you know, with cell phone footage it's coming out.
Yeah. Well, even to your point of like nationalistic and stuff like that. Like I noticed that specifically with like immigrants here. You know, like I've run into Afghans and Iraqis and different people and stuff like that. But it seems like the Iranians, like across the board, are like very proud to be Iranian, you know, and that's just something I've noticed in a bit of a difference between like them and Iraq, for example, or Afghanistan. It's interesting. I like to eat at this restaurant that's Iranian, and he was so stoked last time I went in because he was like, "It's coming." It's coming. The country's gonna be free. It's coming.
and by the way,
take me with you for an embed if you go back.
Oh, dude, everyone's asking me that. They're like, "You going to Iran?" I literally had a guy text me today. It was like,
"Yeah, I had someone text me too," and I was like, "It would borderline, I think, impossible with the U.S. military."
Well, right now you don't want to go. Yeah. It's. I mean, I think it would be great in the next few weeks or something, you know, in like a month.
Even then, like, I don't even know if we could go, like, get permission to go, especially being an independent. You know, maybe if I work for, like, Fox News or something like that, but...
yeah. Just tag along with Trey.
Yeah. Yeah, I'll hide in his suitcase.
Yeah. It's like, hey, man, we're coming right. It's like, you know, sneak in through the border, like, we're just with him. We're with him,
yeah.
You know?
I'm so jealous of that guy's access. He can go anywhere.
Well, yeah. Well, he's mostly out of Israel, though. Trey Yanks, good, great.
Yeah, I met him in Sderot down there in the Gaza border. He's a cool guy. I like him a lot. They say not to meet your heroes, and that was one of like the examples of like just as cool in person as his like online persona is.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it was great to meet him when I was down there.
Yeah, the dude got after it. Like
he's got some balls too. Like,
yeah. Yeah, because he's not even military. He just like I think
he just went to school to like be a broadcast journalist, and then got his job at Fox, and just ended up being a cool guy. It's like, man, that's so cool.
No, right?
That's so cool.
Yeah, and kind of bring it back a little bit to your nationalistic thing. It's amazing seeing the Iranians really, really, you know, I don't know. It's one of those things too. And Trump is kind of I don't want to say reading the mind of the Western, you know, peoples, but it's also. You know, I think he said it in his speech was like, "There's a once in a generation, you know, or in there's a once in a lifetime or once in a few generations that you can take your country back." And he essentially said it's up to you, which was actually kind of I think it's a good message, you know, because we're we're doing what we need to do, but you need to do what you need to do. You know, you've been wanting this for 50 years. We're giving you the shot. You have to take the ball and run with it now. You know, we will assist, but this isn't our, you know, we're not going to occupy for you, which I agree with, you know, like I 100% like, it's like, here you go, here's the ball. Like we'll provide you with assets and logistics, but we're not bringing in 100,000 troops. And
especially seeing how like Iraq played out, I can really get on board with that being like, hey, like we've done what we need to do. You guys can sink or swim on your own now.
Exactly.
Hope you swim.
And mostly too, I mean, you're looking at special operations. You know, I always hate throwing that around, but Green Beret, you know, SF teams on the ground, and you know, CAG and Dev Group doing what they need to do, and that would be the extent. You know.
I agree. I don't want to see like line companies digging trenches outside Tehran. You know what I'm saying?
No, I agree. And what's the point too? Because it's the people. Like it's up to the people. There shouldn't be. It's an insurgency. There shouldn't. You know. If there's a conflict, that's an insurgency conflict. You know, it would be a repeat of Iraq. It's like we're not going to be building FOBs in the middle of Tehran in multiple places. Like this is on you now.
Yeah.
And I do feel like there is enough support that I think they can pull it off. Which would, by the way, would be utterly insane. And you're hoping to. Again, we're day 4 of this operation, special operation, whatever you want to call it, and we're day 4 in. And everyone's just like, this is it. We're going to lose. You know, you have one side that clearly, I get it. They don't want war at all. So they're like, this is going to fail. We're going to fail. No matter what happens, we're going to fail. You know, and then you have some optimistic sides that are like, well, you know, let's, you know, for like me is like, let's see it play out. And, you know, sadly we have lost 6 and 18 injured, but this is still warfare. And, you know, let's see how this plays out. And you know, if we play the cards right, the fact that we destabilized, not even destabilized. I mean, he really took away a massive blow to, you know, terrorism like across the region, you know, geopolitically. Can you imagine Iran suddenly within a month switching, you know, if they get the Shah, if they get the prince in there, somewhat friendly, somewhat warm to the U.S., how huge that is for their region. I mean, one of the biggest issues we had in Iraq was the Iranian proxies feeding into it. You know what I mean? And suddenly they become an ally. I mean, that's beyond the history books.
Or
I mean,
if not an ally, at least like a neutral, uninterested party.
exactly, which is a win, by the way. They become like a UAE or a Dubai. Or, by the way, Qatar, they're shitheads. They really are. They still fund terrorism. They're not great people. But geopolitically, there's opportunities that you take. Okay, they're an ally when you need to be an ally. Pakistan's the same way, by the way. Pakistanis were getting after, you know, they were funding the Taliban the entire war.
They're fighting the Taliban now.
Yeah, now they're fighting the Taliban. So they're just like, you know, I love the meme. Somebody posted that up too. That it was I love it. Like Afghanistan and Pakistan are at war, and somebody just wrote, both teams have fun. You know, dude.
That's my view on it now too. I'm
Same.
Have at it, guys.
Have at it. Have a good time. You know.
Yeah. To me, it's like when like Nazis and communists fight and kill each other. It's like just have at it. Have as much fun as you want.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Go on it for 20 years if you want.
Yeah. Have fun.
I'll be over here watching.
Yeah, exactly. But I mean, you know, I think with Iran, I mean, that's such a regional power. I mean, you're talking oil, you're talking logistics, you're talking 90 million people. You know,
one of Russia's biggest allies.
Not anymore. You know, China's biggest importers or exporters of oil. Like, dude, it's wild. It's wild. And by the way, this is kind of the stuff we talk about as tacticians. Yeah, this is what you need to do, and people aren't willing to do it. And the fact that the Maduro raid happened, and then this is happening. A lot of people are talking about the hubris of the Maduro raid. Like,
I think that's a big reason why this is happening is because that was such a confidence booster, man.
Oh, yeah. I mean, and by the way, confidence booster. How is this not a confidence booster? You just wiped out the Ayatollah in less than an hour.
Day one.
Like
one of my favorite memes about this so far is like, it's like spends his entire life getting ready for the holy war against the United States and then dies on the first day.
Yeah, exactly. You know, and like, I don't know how it couldn't be a morale boost. I mean, it's, again, terrible that we've lost 6, you know.
Yeah.
But at the same point, like when you're talking strategy and logistics and tactics, like, I mean, holy God. I mean, it's funny when people are like, you'll find the reason why we don't have universal health care. And it's like, well, you know, this is pretty gangster.
A fleet of B-2 stealth bombers flying over you. That's why.
Yeah, exactly. Or when somebody had a really good post on the F-22 or F-35s and F-22 Raptors. And me and you have both bitched about how expensive those programs are and how worthless they are. And then this happened and somebody wrote out a whole thing about how this is exactly what I've read it. And I'm like, touche, man, you got me. You know,
right,
this
well,
is
that's a good way to spend my tax dollars.
Exactly. Like, all right, I guess you were right after 25 years. like I'll give it to you. You know, sure. All
we
right.
got so many of those things too.
Oh, dude, they're just hammering. Somebody showed a graphic of not even us, but the Israelis. What the Israelis are doing? They're bombing Lebanon and they're flying over Iraq and they're hitting Iran. And you know, you think we're having fun? I mean, the IDF is absolutely getting after it. I do foresee them going on ground. They've already rumored about. I mean, Mossad's on ground clearly. The Kurds are getting armed. The Mossad obviously clearly is on ground, but then because it couldn't have done it without the Mossad. No. But like possible IDF forces, like I won't say general infantry, but like I think ground troops for them. I mean, because to them it's a big deal. You know, we're not sending troops in. I think Israelis will be sending guys in.
Yeah, and I don't think we should.
No, either. I don't think so either. I 100% agree with you.
I think I'm old enough to the point, and I understand war and like its consequences enough now where it's like, if it's not like directly defending the United States, I want like as few of our guys on the ground as possible. You know, like I'm cool with like you were saying, like some like Green Berets or other tier 1 cool guys like going in and like helping our friends on the ground to do what needs to be done, but I don't want dudes digging trenches near Tehran.
Yeah. The Minnesota National Guard shouldn't be sending over,
Yeah.
as much as the boys in the 2-135 want to be over there. I know 34 ID would love to get over there, but I agree with you. That's definitely, something that we should not be doing. And again, that's why we don't have universal health care and we have 39 trillion in debt. Let's see that in action with the assets that we have built and the expensive weaponry. Let's keep going with that. Like I'm fully on board with that. Like let's keep going.
I saw a video of some Tomahawks flying today over like somewhere, I don't remember what, but I was so impressed with those. They were like so close to the ground.
Yeah.
And like maneuvering over hills and stuff, and it's like that is so cool.
Right? Yeah. Yeah, you see those come in, you're just like, God damn, all right, like, okay, man, I get it, military industrial, it was score one for the military industrial complex, we bitch about it all the time, but you know what, Lockheed, thank God,
I pledge allegiance to Raytheon and Lockheed Martin.
Exactly, yep. You guys, you know what, you get a win for the day, I'll let you be. No, I agree. It's crazy seeing everything at work, and then the UAVs. I mean, we have one, kamikaze UAVs now that are doing work. It is interesting to see. Like I said, I agree with you. I would love to see. God, we're 4 days in. What's going to happen by Friday? By pizza movie night with my daughter and family. What in 3 more days? How far along are we? I mean, they're devastating that whole country. I mean, and not even the country itself. I mean, like Iranians, you're seeing it come out. Like I think I saw one the other day. Like, yeah, they hit the house, but everyone's okay. That's fine. Like, like Iranians are literally like they're like, it's okay. We're okay. Keep bombing. Like literally, like we're okay. Everyone's okay, and they love it. They're just like, get them. Like, it's okay. We're fine. Mistakes are made, and the Iranians are just like posting it. Like they're fine. Keep going. It's worth it. I mean, it's inspiring. Like I hate to say it, but we've talked about this for decades. I've read about this. I'm sure you've read about it. Movies have been made about it. We've talked about it geopolitically. It's clearly, it's always been in the forefront of our mind for decades, and just like I said, give credit to Trump's just like, we're doing it, like,
it's something I like always had thought about, but never thought it would actually happen.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like direct war between Russia and the United States, or like something along that. Like I never like it was always like a TDG, but it was never like a real life thing.
Yeah, which is insane to think about.
Yeah, like I'm still like, oh my God, we're like at war with Iran right now.
I know, right? Everybody brings up Battlefield 3. They're like showing the footage, Battlefield 3.
Yeah, we keep doing this. We're gonna run out of video game ideas.
I know, right? Yeah, what's next? Yeah, Russia's a paper tag. What, China?
Yeah, China? There can never be a serious U.S. versus Russia game ever again.
No.
Like MW2 and 3 is like a total lie.
Oh God, yeah, right. Dude, you think about it, and you're just like, dude, they wouldn't even gotten across the Pacific. You know what I mean? No. Like they would have ran out of gas in their fleet. Like what? It's insane. I know. I think about that whole thing, like the VDV and the Spetsnaz. And you're like, I mean, granted, they obviously, there's clearly Ukrainians that have encountered them and they are hard fighters, but not to like what our guys are, or any, our basic infantrymen's probably just as well trained as they are, so, or if not more, clearly more. But yeah, I agree. I think with
they're
the Iran
definitely
stuff,
better equipped. Like it's pretty rare where you see like VDV with like a suppressor and NVGs, and that's just the standard now.
Yeah. Oh, for you talk about the U.S.,
the United States, like
that's
just the standard, and it's like
we're starting to run dual tubes
for like their tier 2 guys.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
Please, I need an optic on my AK. It's like we've all had them.
Yeah, exactly. We've had optics on our shit since the early GWatt or mid GWatt, and then like our guys are starting to get like dual tubes. I know Recon.
A bunch of guys have dual tubes now.
Yeah.
Like I think my old infantry battalion has all dual tubes and suppressors now, like everyone.
Yeah, the Marine Corps is getting the suppressors by the time when I was, yeah, you're right. That was probably a few years back now, probably like 8 years or so.
Yeah.
You didn't have
when I was in, I was the only guy in my platoon who had one.
But you were a DM,
I was the DM.
Yeah.
So I was the only one. And then as I was getting out, everyone was getting like high cut helmets and suppressors and stuff. And I was like, oh man, I picked the wrong year to get out, man. You guys get all the cool guy stuff. I look like I'm from the Gulf War compared to you guys.
Oh, see, back in my day, like '06. Oh my God, I still had the night vision that was the dual. It was the double eye, but then the single mono.
Yeah,
it was horrific. It was so bad.
On a more like aesthetic note, like early mid GWAT was like so aesthetically peak. You know, it just looked great. It's like 1980s woodland. You know, just like it looked so good.
I beg to differ, but yeah.
I think it looks cool. Like looking at pictures of it now, I'm like, that looks bad. Like a bunch of mismatched uniform parts and stuff like that. Like everyone's plate carriers doesn't match. Like it looks so cool.
I was the generation that literally got it like the week of. You know, I was all tan Molly.
Yeah.
My guys before me though, like a few months ahead of me, had that. Like they had the mismatched woodlands and deserts and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But no, I agree. It's pretty wild. I mean, I think one of the things we can probably talk about too is the intelligence leading up to the Iranian the strikes, the special operation warfare, whatever you want to call it. But the Mossad infiltration, have you been hearing about how they got in?
No.
It's insane.
Story time.
Yeah, dude, it is. Like I was pulling stuff I was reading. It's like there's so much information going on that like I was trying to like screenshot and like save. But the Mossad had infiltrated into Iran as doctors and dentists. So they were literally like the personal doctors and medical personnel and all these basically to Khomeini and all of his key personnel. They had hacked all the infrastructure and the security cameras. And they had it on a server that was encrypted and sending back to Tel Aviv. So they had been tracking Khomeini and his security guards, all of them, for years. So they knew their way of life, you know, their habits. So apparently, it was
real quick. I'm just picturing like being a Mossad agent back in Tel Aviv. Like you have to be giggling to yourself sometimes with like the access that you've got. You know, it's like we know exactly where this guy is.
Well, it's freaky too, right? Like, I mean, like any Middle Eastern country, like I mean, you could maybe pull that. No, I don't even think you could pull that off in the U.S. You know what I mean? Like, if you're trying to hunt a target, because they're like, you know, like you'd stick out. Like, 'cause it helps that Israelis are also like part Arab, you know, or they match. They it's not like you send it, Arab looking dude around here, like, what you doing? Like, what do you, you know what I mean? Like, you stick out a little bit. You go to like Midwest.
If I went and tried to be a spy in Nigeria, like...
Exactly. It's not going to work out well. They'd be like, what are you doing? Like, clearly you're not here just to be a doctor. But no, I agree. It's insane. But they had been tracking him, and I guess that's what they said. And then this has been I listened to the news conference, I believe this morning, the one that was like an hour, or yesterday. They have another one at 8 a.m. Eastern time tomorrow morning, just in time for this drop. So, but they said that it was a target of opportunity. They hit him at 9 a.m. in the morning. So whatever it was, they're just like, do it. And they killed him at 9 a.m. in the morning. Like, that's how confident they were in their intelligence. And I imagine they had eyes on him. I mean, they had him confirmed dead within an hour. So that means they struck him, and then they managed to get a photo of him. And
I was kind of skeptical about it at first until I saw that like Benjamin Netanyahu had come out and said it, and I was like, he's got to be dead then. Like, got to be. And remember there were like rumors during the I think it was the 12-day war that like some high level guys in the Iranian government were killed, and then it came out like hours later they were fine, stuff like that. And so that's why I was a little like, is he dead? And then once I saw like Netanyahu was like, yeah, this guy's dead, I was like, yeah, it's probably dead then.
Probably dead. Yeah. I think I'll take your word for it. Well, they were also, I mean, Trump was saying it, but then it was like getting confirmed. Like, no, we're not messing around. Like, I mean, you moved entire carrier groups, like, and it's kind of felt too. You're like, oh, they killed him. Oh, they're not stopping. Like this isn't like if they had sent a B-2 stealth bomber from Nebraska and hit him, and then you could be a little skeptical. They'd be like, did you get him? I'm pretty sure you got him. We can't confirm on ground because we dropped one bomb, Whereas like this is like no, we're vaporizing the entire cabinet and starting over. Then it felt like, oh yeah, they got him. Like
I wonder if he thought they would target him.
Oh man, that's
because that was the other thing. Like I saw that he just got killed like at his house, and I was thinking like either he felt so secure in his position that he was too important to kill, or he's just like the dumbest guy alive. Because it's like you've got the United States literally being like, we're gonna bomb the shit out of you. Like, why was he not underground?
Yeah, or
like,
maybe he
on
thought
his patio, like having his little morning Turkish coffee, and then he's like, "What's that?" Boom! Like,
well, I think though too. I mean, like Assad took the granted it was different with the fall of Syria, but he bugged out to Russia, and apparently there had been channels open that were coming back with intel that he was thinking about bugging out to Russia. I remember hearing about that like last week. That he might possibly be there was some communication between Russia and him. And
yeah, I remember during the protests when it kind of looked like the government was gonna, like when a lot of those police stations were getting taken over and like the protests were still like really ongoing. I remember because I'm in a couple of OSINT chats and it looked like there was communication with Russia where it was like they're ready to take off if they need to. So I was like, oh, it's getting pretty serious then if there's like talk about leaving.
Yeah.
But I never anticipated this.
Yeah, I know, and I agree. And I think that's maybe, I think I kind of agree with you. I don't think he thought that we were going to strike him directly.
Yeah.
I think he was like, oh, they're going to hit the nuclear facilities. I'll keep negotiating. Maybe they'll hit my generals, intimidate me. And then worst case, I'll fly out to Russia and call it a day. And instead, we just dropped the bomb on him, and then that just ended that.
I wonder if in Moscow there's like some villa where like all these ex-dictators are living after they flee there.
Yeah. Well, apparently Assad's living a pretty good life. He's just hanging out. Like they're like, yeah, he's got a few million in the bank and just hanging, or a few, whatever that translates the rubles, and he's got like a villa and shit like that.
Got like $19.
Yeah.
10 trillion rubles is like $40.
They're like, you know what? You're gonna have to go to the front there in Ukraine. You really have to earn your citizenship.
Yeah.
No, yeah, man. It's pretty crazy, and I think it's a turning point in history, and it's wild to live through two historical events within the last month. So,
dude, that's literally what we were talking about the last time we were on. Was like
the Maduro raid.
How many like major world events have happened in just the last like 5 years. And now here's one of the biggest ones.
It's historical. I mean, 2021 and on. Well, 2020, COVID. So you're looking at like a little over 5 years.
Yeah.
To
me, like the three biggest things are COVID, the Russian invasion of Ukraine, and now this. Like it's pretty world-changing stuff.
Dude, the stack. I mean, like I am. It's one of those things, obviously, things are clearly highly politicized and stuff like that, clearly, with Donald Trump. I'm like, when my daughter gets older, my kids are like in high school, like I'm just I just can't wait for the history books because it's going to be so polarized.
Yeah.
And you're going to be like, no, I lived through it. And they're like, what happened? I'm like, dude, so there's this guy when I was a kid. He was on The Apprentice, and like that's how I knew him.
Member of Home Alone 2 overthrew Iran.
Exactly. Oh yeah. And somebody busted out a video of him in 2005 singing a song with Tina Fey, and they were like, "This is the guy that's going to snatch up a president and the Shah's reign of 50 years and bomb Iran." And I knew him as The Apprentice. People before me knew him as the New York real estate mogul in the 80s and 90s.
That's when I was first introduced to Donald Trump, was The Apprentice as well.
Yeah, exactly. Same.
So.
And then I still love the memes. It just says Obama making fun of, saying Trump will never be president. And then like at the very top domino is the fall of the Shah of Iran, and it's just like, you think of politically, but when you think about the history books, this is going to be one of the most significant times like ever. I mean, and like, I agree with you for the 6 years, like this 6 year stretch, COVID, fall of Afghanistan, the Russia-Ukraine war, taking of the Venezuelan president at night.
The Israel-Hamas war.
Israel, October 7th is
October
huge,
7th.
massive, and then now the overthrow of the Ayatollah, and honestly too, like you said, it's going to be one of those things where I don't know, maybe I'm too optimistic, but I do feel like this is a lot more optimistic than, say, if we went back to Afghanistan or something, or like, oh no, we're gonna re-back Kabul or Bagram or whatever. I do feel like Iran will be different. I'm hoping it'll be different, but I feel like we're heading in the right direction, even though everybody wants to hate on this, or it depends on who you get your news from. In my eyes, as military, strategic, tactical, I think we've been making very good moves. Clarity, I agree with you, clarity, and we're kind of getting the answers on why we're doing this, but it's a little bit, I agree with you that they don't want regime change, or they're not like, we're not here to change the regime, we're here to do this, but they're like, but the regime needs to change. So I agree with you on that. It's like, where do we land on that?
Yeah,
I mean, we're clearly
I could
destroying
use more
targets.
clarification on that.
Yeah.
The movies will be cool about this when they come
Oh,
out.
dude, you think about that, like the infiltration aspect.
Yeah,
like
there's going to be some like spy movie 4
yeah.
years down the road about some Mossad agent pretending to be a dentist for the Ayatollah.
Dude, well, just the hype of that. I mean, like, think about that, right? It's typically, in reality, they do the protest. President Trump says, keep protesting. They get massacred. He draws a red line. Nothing happens. This is a movie. This is a movie script right now. Because this doesn't happen in reality. And the red line was drawn. They massacre protests, and then he follows through. I mean, that's a script. I mean, who moves carriers for another country and wipes out their entire government? I mean,
dude, I feel like the last 8 months have just been like a fever dream for me, and like I'm actually like bleeding out in Pokrovsk still. What is happening?
Yeah. You're on Into the Breach podcast, just like it's like what do you call it? Damn it, what was that movie? Jacob's Ladder. Or whatever. Yeah. You're just in a really advanced version of Jacob's Ladder.
Yeah.
No, man. Yeah, I agree with you. I think it's been a wild ride. So, it'll be interesting to see how everything kind of shakes out. So, yeah, man, it's crazy. All right, we hit an hour. We're gonna switch over to the Patreon, talk some shit, have a good time. All right, everybody, go check out Nick Laidlaw, Battles and Beers, at Battles and Beers, and Battles and Beers War Stories, and Nick Laid the Law. Go subscribe to him on Instagram and go check out the YouTube channel, Battles and Beers, right? At Battles and
same
Beers.
name.
Yeah.
Same name.
All right.
I'm easy to find.
Yep. And then go subscribe to exclusive content here on Spotify or wherever you listen to this, on YouTube. Go to Patreon for the Patreon clips, or go to YouTube or Spotify exclusive content and subscribe, support the channel. This is awesome. We're going to be doing more of this over every single week. You're going to be hearing from me and Nick, possibly Preston Stewart, and a few other guests will be coming on, so you guys can hear us and our opinions on world events. And eventually I think we'll get to films and movies and everything, but go check us out. Thanks for tuning in, and now we're switching over to the Patreon.